What's up, everybody? One Fun Guy podcast live in the studio again with Athena. Athena,
Hello.
welcome back.
Thank
You
you.
have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to cover tonight. So let's just get the ball rolling. How was Bloodstock? What was your experience like?
Oh my gosh, there is so much that went down on that week. It's unbelievable. I arrived on the Tuesday and got back on the Sunday, and it was absolutely jam-packed.
Okay,
Absolutely. The Tuesday was all right, because that was just the day then that we arrived and unpacked and found out what our shifts were and all the rest of it. So that was nice and chilled. But yeah, there was so much that went on, from the
okay. Let's
bands
All
to,
right. Hold on one second. Let's do this.
yeah,
Let's explain to everybody who's watching who might not know what Bloodstock is. Can you kind of fill them in as in terms of, like, obviously it's a music festival, but kind of
yeah.
explain the ambiance and atmosphere of this?
Okay, so Bloodstock is now Bloodstock Open Air, but originally it was an indoor festival, from 2001. So it's been going for a long time now. Next year will be the 25th year that it is running. So it's going to be a
Okay.
very special near year next year. But essentially, it's a festival, predominantly metal, and lots of different bands from sort of all walks of life sort of get together to sort of share their performances and their love of metal essentially. And it is a 20,000 capacity festival, so it's quite a good size, and
Sure.
I think it's personally a nice balance because it's not so big that you get lost. It gives a bit of a nice homely feel, I would describe it.
Okay. So for the Americans watching, right?
Yeah.
Athena is overseas, right? She Europe has a much different festival experience. I would
Hmm.
say that Bloodstock is probably very similar to like Ozfest, the way it used to be here, or something close to like Rocklahoma now, where you have a bunch of different metal bands, anywhere between 25 and 30 acts, and they kind of split stages and you kind of get mapped out to where they are. So if you've ever been to like a big concert outdoor festival like an Ozfest, it's very similar to that. So if that kind of gives you an idea of what it's like. So let's just start from the beginning. What was your role there? What did you do for them?
Well, my role, I went because I was doing my course, as you know,
Sure.
in event planning. So going to Bloodstock was sort of my practical element to the course.
Right.
Uh, so it was not something that I went in knowing really anything about, because not only was I newbie in the sort of sense of I was working the event, I'd also never
Sure.
even been as a customer. So, when I was offered that and I ended up accepting it, it was very interesting going in, especially to the staff chat, just going, just to be clear here, I have no idea what to expect. And everyone was going, it'll be
Sure.
fine, not to worry. And then when I arrived on the Tuesday, and we were meeting everyone and we were sort of going around the arena being shown where everything is, uh, the speaker just said, "Oh, is there anybody here that's never worked the event and has never been?" And I made the mistake of raising my hand, and several people went, "Oh, fresh meat." Oh, oh dear, I shouldn't have said anything. Look down, look down. Oh dear. But
So
yeah, it was
over
fun.
so then overall the experience was an eventful one, right? Even though it was you were new, it was your first time. You would say that it went well, right? Like you would go back and do it again if they asked you. It was a positive, fun experience.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun, positive experience. I mean, it was
Okay.
it was overwhelming at times for me just because it was
Sure.
so new and there was so much going on. But everyone there is incredibly supportive, and I got to experience a few different roles, and then I even got invited to go, backstage at one of their stages on the Saturday. And I thought, well, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity, am I? So that was also really good for me because I got to see all the different things that went on, backstage, and it really gave me more of an idea of what I might like to do next, which is really quite helpful. Um, I asked a bunch of different questions to pretty much anyone I could,
Hmm.
and got a lot of, really nice feedback from very many different people, and also some ideas of different things that I could potentially do. So I'm now sort of looking at that and getting a feel of where I might want to go next.
Sure. So, out of all the bands that played there, who
hmm
would you say would be like the most recognizable band or like the most known band in your opinion?
I think if we're going by most well known, I'd probably say either Trivium or August Burns Red. I think you guys are very familiar
Sure.
with both of those.
Right.
So Trivium played on the Friday. I was working a shift on the Friday, 3 till midnight. However, they positioned me right by the stage where Trivium were playing, which is the main stage. So even though I was working and I had stuff to do, I also managed to get a really nice view of them and got to see some of their performance. And that was really interesting because Three from Sleep Token made a little cameo appearance, which I was not
Okay.
expecting at all. But that was really quite interesting, and I enjoyed that. And actually, I briefly got to meet the boys from Trivium before they did their set, which
Okay.
was also not something that I thought was going to happen either. But I was
Sure.
really happy with that. You know, they signed a really old CD of mine that I had, um, and we had a very quick 2 minute
Sure.
exchange, and then I had to rush off to my shift because it was about 5, 10 minutes before I started my shift. I was
Yeah.
like, "Thank you so much, bye, I've got
Right.
to work." But yeah, they were lovely.
Okay. So, out of all the bands that played, which I'm
hmm
sure there was like a plethora of them, which one
Yeah.
like stuck out to you the most as like saying, wow, they really surprised me or they really shocked me or I wasn't expecting very much and they kind of blew me away. Who were those bands for you?
Oh God, there's a few actually. I mean, it's
Okay.
difficult to pick one because there's actually quite a few that are really surprising. I mean, I have a soft spot for the 500.
So
You
yeah,
know,
and
they,
I do
I
too.
go,
They're great guys. They sent me the album. They all signed it. Like
yeah,
it was really cool meeting those guys and like, interacting with them. And I wouldn't have known them obviously through you. So I
yeah.
also have a soft spot for them. They're awesome. They're a great band.
They are. They're lovely. I mean, they're on tour now until the 24th of January, and they've got so much going on. And they're also headlining another festival next year in May, which is really exciting for them. And I can't wait to see what they do next because they just smash it every single one.
Hmm.
But again, there's quite a few other ones as well that are really good. I mean, on the
Yeah.
New Blood stage, I mean, Cobra absolutely everyone just loves Cobra. On the Saturday, I was invited to go to the silent disco, and I thought, yeah, that's great, I'll go there. And I really enjoyed myself. But while I was there, I was also talking to other staff, and I was backstage for a little bit, and I was speaking to one of the staff members there about, what he liked, what he disliked, what he wanted to kind of see more of, just like having a chat in general. Um, and eventually, after talking for a while, I said, you know what, I reckon you would really like Cobra. Are you working tomorrow? And he said, oh yeah, I'm working here the New Blood stage tomorrow. And I said, okay, listen to Cobra. They'll be on at 4:30. Tell me what you think. And he said, okay, that's fine. Um, can you be here around there so I can let you know? And I said, that's absolutely fine. He listened to them. He absolutely loved them. He came right up to me just before they finished their set and said, I want to book them. I want to book
Okay.
them. Go and speak to them. See if we can set something up. I want to book them. And I said, yeah, that's fine. So I went and found Louis after they'd all come up stage, mentioned it to him, introduced them. And so whilst they were playing, they'd secured another gig, which just goes to show like how incredible
Sure.
they are. I mean, Louis, poor him afterwards, he was stressing about it, going, oh, this might not have gone right and this might have not gone right. And I was like, honestly, no one would know. No
Sure.
one would have known. Honestly, you absolutely smashed it out of the park, as per usual. Someone else wants to book you. So well done. They were
Yeah.
fantastic. And they've got a lot of stuff coming up as well. They're working on an album and they've got a couple of really good gigs coming up in December. They're also going to be on Slayfest next May, which will be very exciting. So they have a whole bunch of stuff going on. And what's another one? Prayers. They're from Ireland.
Okay.
They absolutely are incredible. Like Nolan, the guitarist, he was amazing. Or had amazing high energy throughout. Amy, vocals, always smashes it out of the park. And I mean, I'm slightly envious because she used to be an athlete before she ended up picking up the mic and singing. So if you ever see her in any of her music videos, she can sprint and look at the camera and bellow out some incredible high notes and stuff. And I'm sat there going, I wouldn't even run for the
Right.
ice cream man. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But no, they're amazing. And actually, they've just been signed actually to Pelagic Records, and they've got a debut album coming out on the 14th of November. So they
Okay.
also have a lot going on too.
Very nice. So in the grand scheme of things, right, with the festival going on and all the connections you made and all the networking you did,
Mm.
how do you think this now is going to prepare you for your next step? I know you said it opened up a few doors and maybe some opportunities and maybe some things you thought about doing that you hadn't thought before. Like, where do you see yourself going after this experience? Like, what direction do you see yourself or where you want to see yourself going?
See, there's a couple of things I've been looking into. I did really
Okay.
enjoy working backstage, and I really enjoyed seeing how things come together. So I have been looking into sort of event production,
Okay.
but also a couple of people there suggested band management as well.
Sure.
I don't really know an awful lot about it, so I'm sort of looking into it to find out some more info and having a look. I'm keeping an open mind because it
Hmm.
wasn't something that was initially on my radar
Right.
until the staff member said, "Oh, maybe look at that." So yeah, there's a couple of things I'm sort of keeping an open mind
Okay.
with at the minute.
What would you like to do though, right? If you went into say band management or say
Mm,
you went into, marketing where they said, "Hey, go find new bands." Like
mm.
where do you think your finesse would be? Like where do you think you would feel like strongest suited?
Don't know. I mean, I know it's interesting that you said finding new bands because that is something I do tend to do like without thinking a lot of the time. Maybe if you look
Hmm.
like my For You page, a lot of the time does tend
Right.
to be music related. I mean, when we spoke back in March,
Yeah.
and I spoke to you about Bleed from Within and
Hmm.
how they were doing, so I really want to see them. Turns out they're going to be playing at Bloodstock next year.
Okay.
So I was at the going, what?
Right.
And there's heavy Saurus. I've been like stalking them like online because
Sure.
I want to book them or I want to go see them in England at some point. For
Right.
ages, been watching their videos, and oh yeah, they're going to be at Bloodstock next year. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, I've got a few that I've been keeping an eye on, especially like these past few months. But well, the
Okay.
past year-ish, but definitely more the last few months, I've been sort of really sort of keeping an eye out. There's
Okay.
a lovely band called Tooth and Dagger that are from Birmingham, where the lovely Ozzy was from.
Right.
Um, they've got a really unique sound going at the minute. They've mixed metal with a bit of EDM,
Okay.
which is not something I would have thought of.
Sure.
But it works. I don't know how they do it, but I mean they've got this single out called Survive, and they've got an amazing song called Ego out, and I love both of those tracks.
Sure.
So they're very good. There's also a band called Rituals, which I've been sort of like looking into for quite some time now as well, and they've just had a single
Okay.
called Breathless, which reached number 1 in the metal charts recently and number 3 in the rock charts. They've got an
Okay.
EP coming out 7th of November, and they've got one of their songs is featuring Bury Tomorrow. Have you heard of Bury Tomorrow?
Mm-mm.
No, so they're a band. Apparently, they've been going on for a while. But this is what I love about collaborations.
Yeah.
Because you remember when Ozzy did a collaboration with Post Malone years back?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I remember at the time thinking, well, who's Post Malone? I didn't know who he was. But there was a whole bunch of people in the younger generation going, who's Ozzy?
Right.
And that was a very, oh, what do you mean, who's Aussie? But this is what I love about
Sure.
collabs. I mean, I already knew who Rituals were,
Right.
and then finding out they were doing, a collaboration with Bury Tomorrow, I thought, oh, who's that? Tappy Tap Away. They've been going on since 2007, it turns out.
Sure.
Now I can't really give you a preview of the song, but I can tell you it's called Hope and Hatred.
Okay.
And it's got some like heavy riffs and upbeat choruses, and it really
Sure.
showcases the like unique vocals that Tom has, and it works really well. Both of those both of the bands do work really well together,
Okay.
in my opinion. So I'm looking forward
Very
to that.
nice.
That's going to be coming out in November.
Okay. Now, out of the whole Bloodstock experience with everything that happened,
Hmm.
is that something now that like you get invited to again next year, or like is how does that work? Is that something you would like request to be part of, or do they ask you again, or like how would you be involved with like it next year, or is that like too far into the future yet?
I mean, I'd be open to work in the event again for sure. I really did enjoy it,
Okay.
and they were quite supportive. I have sent some emails out just because instead of doing a bunch of different shifts in different areas, I would
Mm-hmm.
quite like to focus more on one area if possible. So I have
Okay.
sent some emails out in regards to that. And you never know, I may end up working it again next year. I may end up
Right.
working other places.
Sure.
I think it's a bit too soon to say for certain right now, but
Okay.
definitely something I'd be open to doing again.
All right. So I guess the the question to follow up that would be, out of this experience now, are there any other festivals that you might think that you would want to maybe be a part of? Is there anything else going on in your area, or maybe other countries that you might say it would be worth it for me maybe to try to get over there and be involved with that?
Um, Other countries potentially in the future. I think I
Okay.
probably for now want to stick with the UK.
Sure.
I've been looking at different festivals, some family friendly festivals, some that are just for adults, some that are, a
Okay.
mixture of different music. I'm trying to keep my options open because my thought process is there to learn, to gain experience. So I don't want to limit
Right.
myself to a certain genre or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've sent out some messages to various different festivals just to sort of try and see. But yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes.
Sure.
And hopefully though, I'll be able to gain some more experience in different festivals. But even events as a whole, it doesn't necessarily have to be a festival, you know?
Right. So, you know, I know you mentioned a few of the bands on here that we talked about, already and stuff like that. Those bands that you have kind of self-promoted, when you make your videos, I know you tag some of them in it, and you've been, really heavily promoting them and talking about them and how excited you get. Have any of those guys reached out to you and like said thank you for doing that, or like please continue to do it, or thank you for the support? Or have any of them maybe even gone a little bit further and said, hey, would you want to consider working with us? Or has any that happened yet, or is that just
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few who, always say thank you very much for your support. They're all very grateful. I mean, like I said, I know we talked about 500 already, but
Mhm.
any time like I mention them or use one of their songs, they're always very thankful and very very appreciative. And likewise, I mean, Tiberius, they're a great band as well. They're on the EMP stage this year at Bloodstock, and they're always the type of band that really interact with you, which is always really quite nice because it just goes to show that they really appreciate anything that, whether it's a fan, another staff member, they really are appreciative and very grateful for absolutely anything that they get, and it's really nice to see that. So yeah, there's been a few, and I like that. Hopefully, I'll be able to work with some more in the future, and I've got a couple of things lined up, but I can't say what yet.
Sure.
But the next sort of couple of months, we've got potentially some collabs happening. So that'll be very
Okay.
exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the festival is how long? From is it a week long? Is it like 4 days? Like how long is the actual festival? And then what was your time put into it?
So some people simply go for the weekend, which is a Saturday to Sunday, but you can go from the Wednesday night up until the Sunday.
Okay.
Predominantly the bands tend to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I know next year for their 25th anniversary, they're also going to be showcasing some bands on the Thursday as well.
Okay.
So they've got a fair few things going on that are quite special just because it's the 25th Bloodstock, which is very exciting. Um, I was very excited to hear that Wednesday 13 was going to be on the list. That
Sure.
made me feel very nostalgic. I thought, oh,
Absolutely.
I'm 17 again. Not really, but you know, that made me sort of go back in time a little bit. But yeah, I think they're going to have some really fantastic things on next year. I can't wait to see what they bring. I'm sure whatever it is, it's going to be fantastic, really.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, besides musicians there, did you meet
Hmm.
anybody else, celebrities or like people in the online world, any influencers, any like famous people outside of music but that are there just as fans or they're doing collaborations or going live? What was anybody that you happen to notice from the online presence there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real hot pot really of people that go, and it was weird. There was some times where I would hear people yell out Athena, and I'd turn around to see who that was because they'd recognize me, and sometimes it was vice versa. I'd
Hmm.
recognize them like, oh, I know you, I know
Okay.
you. But it got to the end of the week, and I was starting to get a little bit of facial blindness going on because I had hardly any sleep, and I had spoken to so many people that by the Sunday I was having conversations and my brain was thinking, oh, where do I know you from? I
Right.
recognize the face and I can't think who you are. And I was panicking inside because I thought, I can't say I've forgotten your name. I can't say that. But I was so tired. I mean, I was
Right.
speaking to one of the guys from Risen at some point, walking back. And it took me a good couple of minutes to realize who he was, and then I felt bad afterwards. And then the rest of the band just turned off and yeah, it just clicked. I was like,
Right.
yes, that's fine.
Sure.
I'm with you now. I'm with you now. I spoke to Paul from the 500 for a good 5-10 minutes, and then went, oh no. And
Yeah.
I speak to him more than I speak to anyone else in that band, and I was so frazzled.
Right.
I was absolutely frazzled. They walked away from him and then walked over to the EMP stage, walked straight into him again. We'd gone from one place to the next place. I'm like, I am so sorry. No, we were having two conversations then. I am so I felt so bad. But that's the thing, when
Sure.
you're interacting with that many people, I think it's just going to happen. I was speaking to people from different bands. I was speaking to security. I was speaking to
Hmm.
lighting techs and sound engineers. So yeah, I'd arrived on the Tuesday, and this is by the Sunday. This is 6 days now. So I was a bit frazzled. So if you saw me on the Sunday and I wasn't making a lot of sense, I do apologize.
Well, that's fair. So, on the grand scale of things, had
Mm.
you did you meet anybody there like that you networked with, like that you now are have a stronger connection to, where maybe you got their personal number or their personal email, as opposed to just their social media, where like you send them a message, they send one back. Did anybody get like super personal and say, "Hey, here's my number, keep in touch," like that kind of way, or did you make any real connections there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I
Okay.
came back from the festival with a whole bunch of different people's phone numbers,
Okay.
email addresses, business cards, all sorts of stuff. And that was
Awesome.
that was really quite lovely, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have definitely been a couple of occasions where I have sent them a message saying, sorry, can I just double check? Are these details your private ones or your public ones? Because such and such has said that they want to get in contact, or they want to book you for a gig and they don't have social media, and so I do always message them first just to check. And sometimes it's
Hmm.
been a case of, oh yeah, this one I don't mind you passing on, and sometimes it's a case of, oh, actually, could you just give them these details?
Right.
um
Okay.
and I do think that that's important, obviously, because
Sure.
I never like to just assume. But that has been really good. And there's definitely been a few people where I do feel I have a much stronger rapport with now that we've actually spent that time together face to face.
Okay. Because that's what that was going to be my follow up question is how do you decipher what is authentic and what is somebody just giving you a random email or something like that. So obviously you answer that in
Yeah.
that case, and it's pretty awesome that you respect their privacy and that you reach out to them first and you just don't pass out personal information to somebody who may not be deserving of it. So that's pretty commendable and respectable on your behalf as well, that you would be level-headed enough to do that. So kudos to you.
Oh, thank you. But to me, I'm just like, well, that's the common sense. I don't like to
Hmm.
make any kind of assumption. Say, yeah,
Sure.
sure, just have this, willy-nilly sort of thing.
Right. So let's go back to the festival itself. So the show opens with on a Friday, right? What
Mm.
is the energy of the crowd on the first day versus the last day? Do you feel that it's more energetic throughout? Like, give us kind of a sense of the actual day itself. So let's say the gates open Friday morning at 10 a.m. and the first band goes on at 11. What's the energy like from that first band on the show till the last band that plays that night?
Well, the bands were playing from the Friday, but people could arrive either the Wednesday night if they had
Okay.
a Wednesday ticket, or they could arrive Thursday. So most of the people, it's sort of a grading system. Some people I saw like coming in late Wednesday night, and we watched some films, which is really quite nice. Thursday, a lot of people were coming in on the Thursday. That was also a pink day for Sophie. So a lot of people were wearing pink, myself
Hmm.
included. But that was really quite nice because it meant people had time to set up camp. They had time
Sure.
to, get settled in, have some food, do all the things that they wanted to do. And then, come Friday, everyone had potentially a night's sleep, potentially not, I don't know. But they would have come down to the arena to see their bands, they'd have had their breakfast, and everyone's just really, really excited. They've got that whole, really good energy where they want to go and see different bands. And there's a lot of them. There's about 100
Hmm.
bands and
Right.
different stage,
Oh,
which
sure.
which which can be difficult to navigate. But Bloodstock
Right.
do now have an app like called they've got like a Clash Finder app, so you can just go on there and just sort of see when everyone is,
Hmm.
and that can be quite helpful. But yeah, I think Saturday for me personally, that was the busiest day. It was pretty chocker all day, and I
Sure.
don't know whether it's because I'd also worked till
Right.
midnight the previous night, but I'd done a shift then, got back, tried to get some sleep, and then was on the Dolly Parton shift on the Saturday.
Okay.
And then after that finished, the Spud crew and me all went to surprise Spudman, which was really quite exciting.
Okay.
Um, Overall went really well. He had no clue, so we'd managed to all keep it as a
Right.
surprise, which is the main bit. And he really liked all of his gifts and his poem and everything, so that was lovely. And then after that, it was a case of, oh yeah, we haven't eaten yet. We should probably do the eating thing, grab some food. And then it was a case of, right, okay, let's go get changed. And then there was a silent disco going on. And then that didn't finish until like 2 in the morning. And
Okay.
we were like walking back. And then it was a case of I knew I was going to have to go back on the Sunday because I'd made promises to see, Koba and
Sure.
um, Speak and Whispers and a few other people. I'd gone, yeah, that's fine. I've finished all my shifts now. I'll come see you. So Sunday was a little bit busy, but
Okay.
a little also not as busy as Saturday. It was a little bit more chilled. I was able to get
Sure.
my hair done, which was much needed, to be honest. But yeah, it was. I don't know. For me personally, I would just say it was a grading system, but I don't know whether that's also because I was there from Tuesday and I was able to sort of have that time to sort of really get used to it. But again, it depends on what it is that you are going for. If you're going just for the Saturday and Sunday, you might sit there and think, actually, that's maybe really overwhelming and both days are really busy and you're wanting to pack as much in as you possibly can. If you're staying from the Thursday, you might think, oh, okay, I've got a few days here. I might have a more chilled vibe. So I don't know what it would be like from the perspective of a customer. I can only sort of speak as from the experience of going there as a member of
Hmm.
staff.
Sure.
Um, but I did find personally Saturday was the busiest day for me.
Okay. Sure. Now, what is the vibe of the bands that are there? Do they do more meet and greets? Do they just play and get off stage? Do they hang out and watch other bands? Do they just, go back to their camper and then just hit the road? Or what's the vibe behind the scenes?
It's a variety. I'd say some bands, for example, might do their set and they're really busy because they've got, other gigs they've got to get to, so they might not be able to take as much time as they would like. But the vibe overall is really good. I mean, I saw some bands do their set on stage and then go and get changed and then walk into the arena, just like absolutely
Hmm.
everyone else, and just have a good time. And there was some other bands there that, they did their set and then they sat and chilled and, had a chat with everybody. They've got a signing tent actually at Bloodstock, and some of the bands sign up to do that, and you can do a very quick meet and greet.
Sure.
Um, it's very, very quick. Don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of people that, want to have that time with them, so they can't really invest an awful lot of time with each individual person. But you can just turn up to that. You don't have to pay a fee for that. You just start queuing, essentially. And that's actually really quite nice. That's been going since, well, the second festival, really. So
Okay.
it's been going on pretty much every year since it started, with the exception of the very first festival they did. And that I think is quite nice. I've been told that a lot of bands really enjoy it.
Sure.
They quite like that element of it, so
Right.
that's always quite nice to know. But yeah, overall, the vibe is very, very friendly, very supportive, and bands, where they can, they do tend to interact not only with the audience while they're on stage, but they'll also interact off stage as well, which is quite nice.
Okay. So the bands that do the meet and greets, that is that pre-set up, or do they just kind of wing it and say, hey, if you want to hang out with us, we're going to be at the merch booth? Or is that something that like the fans would pay for in advance, like to buy a meet and greet pass, or do they just kind of wing it? Did you notice there was any?
I mean, the bands themselves, yes, it is sorted in advance.
Okay, so in
I'm
advance.
not the
Okay,
one who runs that, but that is sorted in advance. But again, if you're just going as a customer, for example, at the festival, and you decide, actually, I would love to meet and greet with Static X or Trivium or whoever it was, then you could just join the queue. They would tell you the dates and times that particular band is going to do the meet and greet, and you just turn up.
sure. Okay,
So that's
that's
quite nice, and there's no extra fees, nothing like that. You literally just turn up.
okay. Now, do you know if this show was recorded for like a DVD or a Blu-ray? You know, some festivals are recorded like Vakken is like every year they film the whole festival and they put it out on like a 3 disc. So every band that's there gets like 3 or 4 songs on a DVD. Do you know if they filmed any of it or any
Oh
bands
yeah,
filmed it for?
they film loads, absolutely
Okay,
loads at Bloodstock. I would guess there is a DVD out now, but I'm not sure, because DVDs, I don't know if they're like as popular now. But definitely in the past, I've seen some DVDs of like early on, like early 2000s. They
okay,
may still do one now. I would have to check. But
sure,
the media was filming like all over the place, all day, all night, so many different bands. So that is
sure,
very much still a thing. And if you are going to go to Bloodstock, you do have to be made aware that there will be people filming
sure.
all sorts of
Do
different
you know if
things.
it was streamed anywhere? Do you know if anybody like professionally streamed it on like YouTube or like any of the on the streaming services? Do you know if it was live anywhere?
It was live streamed, yeah.
Okay,
There was
so
definitely people there live streaming each day.
okay,
I didn't get to see it on the days, A, because I was busy working, and B, because I
sure,
didn't really have signal. So I was very much like, well, I'm here anyway, so I know what's
right,
going on, I can see it. But they do have a very big media presence on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You will absolutely see loads of videos, loads of photos, absolutely everywhere. So, and even
okay,
going back years, you can go back and watch footage from, 2013, for example. There's videos of some really lovely things that happened way back there, which I'm not going to go into too much detail at the minute. But if you wanted to check out any particular year, you absolutely can.
So would you say that this is like a top three biggest festival in England? Is it the top one? Is it the top five? Like, what would you say? Was there anything like that would be bigger or better than this that you think of, or is Bloodstock like number one for the
I
UK?
think in I think in terms of metal, it's definitely the number one.
Okay,
Absolutely.
sounds good.
In terms of festival, I mean, the only festival that I know that does still do some metal gigs would be Download, which is huge. It's like a hundred
Hmm.
thousand people. Like the numbers alone make me go, oh, that
Right,
might be a bit much for me, you know. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough, but yeah, at the minute
right.
I hear that amount of people, I'm thinking that might be a bit too much for my brain to handle right now. But I know they definitely do some metal. I know Corner played there before. I know obviously Matt from Society One, he did a gig at Download a few years
Yeah.
back, so they do that, but I think there's a little bit more variety in terms of their music now. They definitely don't just limit themselves to just metal.
Okay. That's kind of a good thing. Were there any bands there that really weren't metal that like kind of like surprised you? Was there like somebody that like was there any alt rock bands there or anything that would have been like kind of on the cusp that wasn't like hard and heavy? Would you or was it pretty much all focused on like heavy metal?
No, it's not all heavy. I mean, there's loads of different types of metal, isn't there? I
Okay,
mean, you've got power metal and you've got
sure.
baby metal and you know really heavy metal, death metal. There's so much variety in
Okay,
itself when it comes to metal. But the good thing is, I think for me, is when you are listening to bands, especially when you've got like up and coming bands, it's always nice to hear sounds that have a little bit of a unique twist on them. And I think Bloodstock are really good at finding those people where it is metal, but at the same time it's a little bit different. It's
hmm,
allowing you to hear and feel sort of something new, you know, and that's really good. And it's always quite nice to see. It's quite difficult because you want it to keep it where people enjoy it and they're familiar enough with it,
sure.
but you can't have every band sounding the same. You need
Right,
to include variety. But yeah, there's it's not just limited to, you know, Slayer type level. Do
right,
you know what I mean? There is
sure.
enough of a variety in the different types of metal. And there was even some instrumental only bands, like I said, like with Cobra, for example. But
Hmm.
there was also a good couple of other of instrumental only bands. There was a Welsh one actually that came up a couple of times that I can't remember the name of now, but they were also just instrumental only bands, and they had a
Okay,
really nice little
sure.
twist on their sound. So that was quite nice.
So do you know? I guess I could just ask it outright, and if you don't know, you don't know. But like, does Bloodstock reach out to bands to play, or do you have to like submit something that says I want to play Bloodstock, or is it like a little bit of both, or does Bloodstock say, okay, we have these 80 bands in mind, we're going to ask them, and if 40 of them say yes, we'll take all 40 of them.
Well, the person in charge of band bookings would be Vicky Hungerford. She's also the director of Bloodstock, so
Okay,
she is the one who books the bands. But again, you can go on Bloodstock's website. If any band, you know, wanted to submit something to Vicky, you know, they could
okay,
have a look on the website and get in contact with her, absolutely. But I'm not the one that obviously deals with her.
sure.
That is Vicky's job.
Okay, because I didn't know like if because you know some festivals like so like for example Ozfest, like
Mm,
Sharon handpicked all the bands on Ozfest. So she said,
mm,
I don't like this band, they're not on. I like this band, they're on. I don't want this band, but I want this band. So that's how it was. So I didn't know if it was like a handpicked selected by like a committee. If they said,
mm.
okay, we want these 80 bands, we're going to ask them. If 40 of those bands say yes, we're going to book those 40 bands. I didn't know if there was like a process or if you knew like how that broke down. But obviously, you said she picks the band, so there's obviously some kind of logistics and ingenuity behind it, obviously, to get them there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not privy to that. Like I
Sure.
said, that is down to Vicky.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
she is also on like all of the socials as well.
Okay.
And she does actually put a lot of stuff on her TikTok and her other forms of social media. So if you want to stay up to date and ask any questions, she is really lovely and she does her best to answer as many of them as she possibly
Sure.
can. Even though
Absolutely.
she's really busy, she
No,
does
I can
make the
imagine.
time to answer questions. So yeah, if you've got any questions about that or anyone listening, I would say
Yeah.
yeah, go and follow Vicky and ask her.
So the basically for Bloodstock, this is kind of year round thing, right? So they
Hmm.
they book the productions. They obviously need lighting guys. They need sound guys. They need stage building. They need engineers. They need all this stuff. This is a year round thing for them, right? Like this is what they
Yeah.
do to put on one festival, basically, right? I mean, for lack of better terms, right? Because it does take months of planning
Mm.
before you even start to build the stage and put the
Yeah.
lighting up before you even get a band on stage, right?
Oh,
Like there's a whole
absolutely.
process behind this.
Absolutely. I mean, I know Vicky was even booking people for next year, or at the very least, you know, planning and sorting it for next year,
Sure.
even before this year's festival was out.
Right.
You know, she was very open about that, you know, online. This is not me just guessing. This is what she's openly
Right.
said. So you do have to plan it, you know, could it be even a year in advance, or, you know, it's something that you have
Hmm.
to be doing. I imagine she's doing stuff like this on a daily basis, really.
Right.
But the good thing is because it's been going on for so long now, I mean, you've got some like OG staff that have been, you know, working there 10 plus years, 13 plus years. You know, they
Hmm.
know the drill, they know it inside out. And so they're really the best people to ask really when it comes to setting up. But like I said, if any questions like that, it's all really good to follow people like Vicky, and like the Signy Tent. They've got their own social media presence as well.
Right.
So they are the best people really to ask those sort of questions to.
Sure. Now, is it always the same location, or do they switch like areas where it's at, or do they try to find a
No,
spot and
no,
that's
it's been in the same location now.
okay? So it's
Well,
the same location. Okay.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was initially an indoor festival for the first few years,
Okay.
and then it moved on into being an open air festival. But since it became an open air festival, for definite, it's been the exact same arena, the exact same
Setup.
place. That has not,
Okay.
yeah, that's not really changed at all. Don't get me wrong, they may have differences in terms of what merch they sell or what traders might turn up,
Oh, sure.
but you know, the main key elements have been the same
Right.
for quite some time.
Okay. How was the weather? Was it festival friendly?
It was lovely.
All
Yeah.
right.
We
Perfect.
were really lucked out. I mean, there was a slight drizzle on the Thursday, very,
Yeah.
very slight. And
Okay.
thankfully, I wasn't in the arena at that time. I had walked back just in time.
Right.
I had done like another lap of the arena trying to familiarize myself with it because I'd done that a few times on the Wednesday. And then early Thursday, I thought, right, before the hordes of people start ascending, I'm just going to make sure I just familiarize myself one more where all the stages are and you know where the exits are and all the main key areas. And then I'd walk back up to the staff quarters, bumped into Louis, the guy from he runs like Battle Jackets London.
Okay.
And that was really nice. Had a bit of a chat with him. Got back to my area, got settled in, started raining. I thought, oh, I've timed that beautifully well. I'm so chuffed with myself. I'm not out in the rain. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, sunny skies. So I was quite happy with that.
Perfect. So as we start to wrap this up, what would be the like one defining moment of the weekend for you that you would like tell your friends like you're never going to guess what happened, or like what is that kind of like one thing that was like you're never going to forget about this festival?
Oh, there's so many, but to me, the thing that felt absolutely brilliant has got to be the Spud Quest.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, that was something that was planned for months. Like we're talking way back in like March, April time,
Okay.
you know. So it had been
Sure.
so much planning and costume liaising and getting gifts. We had spud meetings, we had spreadsheets, and then we arrived, we're
Right.
sat there sorting out all of our shifts, putting it on the spreadsheet, and then go, right, okay, right, let's sort out when are we doing the Spud Quest, what time, what day, you know and having to keep quiet about it as well because there was no signal at the
Hmm.
festival and we were still trying to sort out a couple of little bits. And there was a couple of people who were going to have to come off of their break in the middle of a shift, get changed into a
Right.
potato costume, and then like hidely just walk around the staff bits. Like, let us not see. We had to make sure that like Spudman and nobody else actually
Right.
saw until we were ready. And then we descended, and then there was cameras everywhere. And then we just we surprised Spud, and we had Jesus crisps. We had a Jesus crisps. And he was dressed up in a Jesus suit, and then he had like a potato sash as well.
Okay.
And so all these people were sat there going, "Why are there 17 potatoes and a hobbit and Jesus?" They didn't know what to think of themselves, and it was absolutely incredible. I think he was speechless for a little bit.
Sure.
He didn't know what to do. And then after we said, "Oh, by the way, you're on live stream," which I didn't know. He was live streaming this whole thing, which I had
Right.
no idea. And he just walked away. It's like, "Oh, you're on live stream. Oh, hello." So I'm waving like a mindless idiot
Right.
dressed as a hobbit, going, "I have no idea. I have no what to do now. But here's your presents." And here's your poem. And then he made me read the poem out, which I was not expecting. I thought I'd just hand in the poem and he could read it, later on. But he said, no, read it. And I had, people filming and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try and focus and just read it and it'll be fine. And it was fine in the end. He loved it and he loved all of his presents. And I felt so good afterwards, just going, oh, it's done.
Right.
It's done. It's worked out. It's fine. So, yeah, that was the most memorable thing
Excellent.
for me.
All right, and then last but not least, let's talk about the charity, right? The one that you mentioned before, where everyone wore pink. We talked
Oh,
about it on
yeah.
the first time, but let's put that out there again. I'll tag that in for those of you watching. If you want to explain a little bit about that and what you do for that, it's really important, and I want to get that out.
Oh, thank you so much. That is the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. So Bloodstock do a lot for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, as do like lots of other festivals and events as well. But they do a lot. And essentially, it's in honor and in memory of a girl named Sophie. She died in 2007. It was when I was in when I was in college. She was a couple of years older than me, and she was murdered because of how she was dressed.
Okay.
She was very alternative. She had her piercings. Beautiful girl. Just murdered because of the way she looked. And then her lovely mum Sylvia, she set up the Sophie Lancaster Foundation in memory of her, just to try and stamp up bullying, raise awareness, and just make sure we really drive home that actually, no matter how someone is dressed,
Sure.
you don't do that. You make sure that you treat people with respect, and you don't do something you don't do
Right.
something like that to anybody really. And it is a really lovely foundation. They do a lot. And Bloodstock in particular, they have a Pink Day for Sophie. This year it was on the Thursday. I have been told
Okay.
sometimes they've done it on a Friday. So the
Sure.
days may change, but they do make sure to let you know in advance when it will be.
Right.
But one of the ways that you can honor Sophie is you dress all in pink, just sort of show your support. It's not mandatory, you don't have to. You could end up
Sure.
just showing support by buying some patches from the Sophie Lancaster shop, or just spreading awareness yourself or telling her story. But it is something that a lot of people do get involved in, and they do really enjoy. And I actually had a really fun time on a Thursday taking as many pictures as I could, and anyone dressed in pink as
Right.
well. I got so many, and it was absolutely lovely to see like men coming around in their pink tutus, and
Sure.
and their bright pink t-shirts, and then like these lovely, like amazing, gorgeous women all dressed up to the nines in bright pink, and it was really lovely to see everyone coming together for Sophie. That was really nice.
That's great. So um, it's always important to do charity work, right? And that's kind of the big thing. And I know you're passionate about it, so I wanted to link that in. Um, we talked about the Bloodstock Festival and all the other bands and everything that's going on. And like I said before, like I wish you all the best. I want you to keep in touch. And
Hmm.
whenever you get the next step figured out, let us know, and we'll have you back on, because this is kind of like I kind of want to do with you with like I do with Beth, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just people are excited about your journey. And when I post your stuff on TikTok, I get more views and questions about you than anybody else that I've had. All the musicians, all the
Really?
stuff. Yeah, so I get a lot of thumbs up. I get a lot of what's next. So I just kind of want to
Oh,
follow your journey. If you want to be a part of this,
that's
we'll
so
check
lovely
in,
to
and
hear.
we'll do one every few months just to see where you're at. And we'll go to the next adventure, and we'll go to the next step, and we'll just keep in touch, and we'll have you on. I mean, it's not going to be a weekly thing, but like every
No.
few months, we'll just check in with you and see where you're at. If you found anything else or anything else has happened. Obviously, we talk off camera, so like, our friendship has grown, but like, you know, I kind of want to put your story out there. So one day when you do make it big, you could say, hey, listen, I was on this guy's podcast back in the day, and now I'm, a big shot, and you'll be making millions and millions of dollars, and in that big house and fancy cars, and this is where we started. So I want to, mark the journey.
Oh no, that's really good. Oh gosh, that is big shoes that you're expecting me to fill. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, you're gonna do it.
they'd be
You
the
will
same
do
as
it.
you though. You'll be one of the big posters. Everyone's like, this
I'm
big
working
fun
that.
guy.
That's my
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Like I'm trying. Every time I do a podcast, I try to just get a little bit better. And I got some accent lighting. I got the sign. So
You
everything
have.
I do is like one step closer to how I want my studio, to how I want things to work out for me. And so, I go live with Kelly a lot of times, and we always talk about manifestation of dreams. And if you say it and you believe it, it goes into the universe, and the universe works to help you. So, that's kind of our big thing. So I want the universe to help you and work out for you, and you get everything you've ever wanted out of this. And that's the goal, right? Is to be the best life you could possibly live, and you're taking the steps to do that. So we want to trek the journey.
Oh, thank you. No, I really appreciate that. And I hope this does improve, because honestly, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but the beginning of the year was really quite something.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff that happened the first 2, 3 months,
Yeah.
like January and February, bam, 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 a whole life changing in
Mm-hmm.
every area. And then suddenly I get that email on the 4th of March saying, we'd like to offer you a chance to work at Bloodstock. And then, you know, the course suddenly then said, oh, you know, every assignment you're going to have from now on, you're going to have to talk about
Right.
Bloodstock. And then I ended up writing reviews for some of the bands that are going to be performing at Bloodstock. I feel like my whole year has been
Yeah.
Bloodstock.
So there you
So,
go. Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Everything was positive from a negative, and you got what you wanted, and now the ball's rolling. And I just want to see where that progresses, because I know you have the ambition and the drive and the motivation to do it. And obviously, you're smart enough and you're well rounded enough to do it. You network like crazy. So, like, every good thing that's going to happen is going to come your way. I just want to be a part
mm.
of that journey, so we could see from where you started to where you're going to where you're going to be, which is superstardom, and we want to take that ride with you.
Oh, I'm so excited. But I'm looking forward to the journey with you as well. I'm excited to see where you're going
Absolutely.
to go. You
Yeah,
know, I can see you going far.
I'm trying. So,
Yeah, you'll
we're
get
in it
there,
together. This is
honestly.
this is it,
Yeah.
right? So we'll do a 90-day check-in or a 120-day check-in in a few months from now, and we'll see where you're at, and we'll keep in touch and let us know what you have going on, and I'll post everything. And obviously this video is going to go live to YouTube. So
Mm.
I'll send you the link. We'll set it up. We'll make some snidbits. Like I said before, I kind of want to practice with this video with a little bit of AI and transition and see if it works, and kind of go from there. And it's one little step, right? It's one more step towards the end game. So, trying new things is scary, but at the same time, it could be really good. Obviously, you know that from this experience. So,
Yeah, yeah.
it's all the little things that add up to the big thing, and that's where we're at now. So, all these little things for you are going to turn into something really big, and I'm excited for you, and I wish you all the best, and I know you're going to get there, and I just want to be along for the ride when that happens. So,
Oh, no, I appreciate it. And the same to you as well. I'm looking forward to see where things are heading for you guys as
I
well. And for
appreciate
like
that.
all of the other people as well. You
Yeah,
know, I'm excited for so many bands as well that I saw at
sure.
Bloodstock where I was sort of going, oh, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do next,
Right.
you know?
So, and you know what? That's the thing, though. You never know when you're going to catch your big break. One of those bands might reach out to you. A marketing firm might reach out to you. Band management might reach out to you, right? So the world is your oyster right now, right? The possibilities are endless. You're smart
Mm,
enough to make the right decisions. You know what you want to do and where you're going to be. It's going to happen, and I'm just excited to see what you have next. So, that's kind of, we've grown now. This is your second time on. It'll be a
mm.
third, and then hopefully a fourth and a fifth, and then every time you're on, you'll have another story and another growth and another learning experience that you can share. And then maybe down the line, somebody who's 19 or 20 watching this that says, I want to, be in the music business, but I'm not in a band, but I want to do this kind of stuff. Maybe now you can influence the next generation. So this is what it's all about, putting positivity into the world. And maybe somebody watching this along the way might say, hey, this Athena girl, she's really cool. I'm going to reach out to her and ask her. And now, you have more people following you and your journey, but you've met them through a different connection. And I just want to be one of them. So that's why I do this.
Well, absolutely. We're in it together, as they say. And I do actually
That we
have
are.
a cup of tea because
There
I'm
you
British
go.
and we are very good at our cups of
Sounds
tea.
good.
So
All right, Athena. Well, I don't want to keep you. I know it's late there.
yeah,
So,
one in the morning. One in the
yeah,
morning.
right. So you did great. We did this. So we'll set it up again. We'll do it like a 90-day or 120-day check-in. I know you're going to be busy coming up. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but we'll keep in touch. We'll keep the audience excited. We'll get this going, and we'll have you back on again, and we'll see where you're at in a few months, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. I can't
All
wait.
right.
And I will speak
Perfect.
to you soon.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And I really appreciate the time. Everybody, follow Athena. This video is going to be linked right to YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. If you didn't catch it live, we'll post it. I'll share it with everybody. I'll tag Athena and all the bands and everybody involved with this, and we'll go from there. And we'll, in the next few days, we'll start to put more out there, and then we'll see where this little interview took us. So.
Yay. Thank you so much.
All right, Athena, have a good night. Good luck in everything. I wish you the best, and we'll see you again soon. And for everybody watching, I am the One Fun Guy podcast. Thank you again for being part of the One Fun Guy podcast family. I appreciate all the love and support. This video is going to YouTube, like I just said. I want to thank Athena again, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.